Welcome to our video tutorial on Mastering DICT ICT Proficiency Step-by-Step Guide to Tackle Programming Problem Statements during our hands-on exam. In this video, we will provide you with the essential strategies and techniques to help you excel in programming problem-solving tasks during your actual DICT ICT Proficiency exam. Whether you are a student preparing for a programming exam or a professional looking to enhance your technical skills, ang bidyong ito will equip you with the necessary knowledge and approaches to confidently tackle programming problem statements during the DICT ICT Proficiency exam. Before starting to take the DICT ICT Diagnostic or Proficiency Programming exam, it is essential to prepare yourself both mentally and technically. Maintain a calm and focused mindset before and during the exam. Minimize distractions. Create a conducive environment and practice relaxation techniques if needed. Trust in your preparation and problem-solving abilities. Remember to read problem statements carefully and think through your solutions before starting to code. During the exam proper, try to check all the programming problems needed to be solved by reading or scanning each of them. Learn to allocate time for different task problems based on their complexity and point value. Avoid spending too much on a single problem at the expense of others. So considering yung 6 hours time allocated for the hands-on exam, plan and allocate how much time you must spend in writing the solution for each problems. For example, if there were 4 problems needed to be solved within 6 hours, you have to allocate an average of at least 1.5 hours in solving each problem. As much as possible, unahin mong isolve yung problem in which you are familiar with and you think you had the best solution or logic for implementation. At least, masisigurado mo na tama yung solution mo, as well as you can surely have the score for that. Remember, you must have at least 80% total score or more to pass the hands-on exam. Kaya dapat at least 3 out of 4 problems ay masagot mo ng tama on time to have a chance to pass the exam. But as much as possible, masagot mo lahat ng problems. So, if you're ready to master the DICT ICT Proficiency and confidently tackle programming problem statements, let's dive in and start our step-by-step guide. Get ready to unlock your full potential and excel in your programming exams. Let's begin. Step 1 is to understand the problem statement. So in understanding the problem statement, you have to take your time to read and grasp the requirements and constraints of the problem. It is crucial to have a clear understanding of what you need to solve. So understanding the problem statement is critical first step in tackling programming problem statements in programming exams, especially with the DICT ICT Proficiency Hands-on programming. It lays the foundation for the entire problem-solving process and greatly influences the quality of your solution. So, basahin mo yung problem statement multiple times. Don't rush into solving the problem immediately after reading it once. Take the time to read problem statement multiple times para masigurado mo yung problem statement na naintindihan mo ng maigi. You have to pay attention sa mga details, requirements, at mga specific constraints mentioned sa problem. So another step to guide you to tackle problem-solving statements during hands-on exam is to analyze the problem. Analyzing the problem is a crucial step in solving programming problem statements. It involves breaking down the problem into smaller components or subtasks, identifying input and output requirements, and determining the specific algorithms or data structures that might be required. In analyzing the problem, you have to examine the problem statement and identify any distinct subtasks or components that can be tackled independently. You determine what input data your solution will require. This includes understanding the format, type, and range of the input. Another also is in analyzing the problem, you have to determine what output your solution needs to produce. Understand the format, the type, and range of the expected output. Consider whether the output needs to be displayed on the screen, written to a file, or returned as a result from a function. In analyzing the problem, you have to consider also the problem's requirements and constraints to identify any specific algorithms or data structures that might be necessary. Sometimes, a problem statement may resemble a known problem or have similarities to problems you have encountered before. So somehow, yung mga napag-practicean mo ng mga problems or encountered mo before, may similarity yung program or problem requirements sa hands-on exam. Drawing connections to familiar problems can help you apply existing knowledge and select appropriate algorithms or techniques. So you have to recall yung mga programming problems na na-review mo. And then check mo kung anong possible na functions or mga modules na nandun na pwede mong magamit sa existing problem na ginagawa mo for the hands-on exam. So that's the number 2 step, which is to analyze the problem. The third step that will guide you to tackle program problem statements during hands-on exam is to design a solution. Designing a solution is a crucial step in solving problem statements. It involves devising strategy to tackle the problem effectively. It is understood na bago pa man nag-umpisa ang hands-on exam, you already decided if what programming language you are going to use. Hopefully, you have chosen a programming language that you are comfortable and familiar with to minimize potential errors and save time during the implementation. You have to consider the problem requirements and constraints to plan out the high-level structures of your code. Determine the main components or functions that your solutions will consist of. Think about how these components will interact and communicate with each other to achieve the desired outcome. Based on your analysis of the problem, decide on the algorithmic approach that best suits the problem requirements. Choose an approach that balances efficiency and correctness based on the problem's constraints. Also, in designing the solution for a problem, you have to identify the data structures that will facilitate efficient manipulation and storage of data in your solution. So consider the problem requirements to determine whether arrays, linked lists, stacks, queues, trees, graphs, or other data structures are suitable. Choose data structures that align with the operations and constraints of the problem. You may also break down your solution into smaller functions or modules and determine the functionality and purpose of each function considering the principle of modularity. This approach makes your code more manageable, readable, and allows for code reuse. And lastly, in designing a solution, you have to anticipate potential errors or exceptions that may arise during the execution of your code. So plan for appropriate error handling mechanism to ensure robustness. Step number 3 to guide you to tackle programming problem statements during hands-on exam is to plan your code. Planning your code is a crucial step in solving programming problem statements. It involves breaking down your solution strategy into smaller steps or functions, outlining the logic and flow of your code, and considering necessary data structures and algorithms. You may take your solution strategy and break it down into smaller steps or subtasks. Identify the logical components and operations that need to be performed to solve the problem. On planning your code, based on the breakdown of your solution strategy, define the functions or modules that will encapsulate the different subtasks. For each function or module, outline the logic and flow of the code. Determine the sequence of operations and conditions or loops required to accomplish the desired task. And based on the problem requirements, identify appropriate data structures needed to store and manipulate the data in your solution. Consider the efficiency and convenience of different data structures such as arrays, lists, queues, stacks, trees, or graphs. You may determine the algorithms that will be necessary to solve specific subtasks or operation within your code, and select algorithms that align with the problem constraints and optimize efficiency. By planning your code, you establish a clear roadmap for implementation. Breaking down the solution strategy, outlining the logic and flow, and considering the data structures and algorithms necessary set you up for a structured and efficient coding process. This step enhances code organization, readability, and maintainability, ultimately leading to a more successful implementation. For number 4, you have to write the code. Writing the code is the implementation phase. So this is the time that you are going to do the actual coding. So step 1, 2, 3, and 4 is more of the planning and design as well as analysis. After conducting that, then you can then proceed with the coding. So here are some guidelines that you have to follow when writing the code. So you have to adhere to best coding practices to ensure clean, readable, and maintainable code. This includes using consistent indentation. So naka-indent dapat. So i-practice yan. It's best practice. Following naming conventions, especially for the variables or variable names. Writing modular and reusable code using functions or procedures, and applying appropriate code design patterns. Choose descriptive and meaningful names for variables, functions, and classes. Include comments throughout your code to explain the functionality of different sections, complex algorithms, or non-obvious logic. So, gamitan nyo ng lagyan nyo ng mga comments. That is very important as part of the documentation. And then start by implementing the functions or modules you defined during the planning phase. So, for number 6, test your code. So, after writing your code, then it's time for you to test your code. So, testing your code is critical step to ensure its correctness and functionality. So, paano natin malalaman kung tama yung code natin o hindi? So, you need to test it. So, paano? Identify different test scenarios that cover a wide range of inputs and potential edge cases. So, you may ask yourself, what if palitan mo itong ganitong variable, anong mangyayari, or ganito yung data na ipipick up. You pay special attention to edge cases and boundary conditions that could potentially break your code. Test scenarios where input values are at the extreme ends of the expected range or where unique conditions are met. Verify that your code handles these cases correctly and produces the expected results. So if somehow the requirements display or identify or display which words are palindrome or not, so make sure yung mga words na to, correctly yung code mo or program solves the exact na word na identify niya na it's really a palindrome. So that is how we do testing. Remember, thorough testing helps identify and rectify any issues in your code, ensuring that it functions correctly and produces the desired results. Regular and comprehensive testing is crucial for building robust and reliable program. So that's number 6, test your code. So we have number 7, debug and refine. There are times that when you do testing, you met problems or errors or bugs. So that's the time that you have to debug and then refine your code. Debugging and refining your code are essential steps to address issues and improve the quality of your code. When your code doesn't produce the expected results, carefully review any error messages or unexpected outputs that are generated. This can provide valuable clues about the source of the issue. Debugging and refining are iterative process. So, paulit-ulit to. At it may require multiple cycles to identify and fix all issues in your code. Patience, attention to detail, and a systematic approach will help you effectively debug your code and improve its overall quality. After debugging and refining, we have to document your code. In documenting your code, include comments at the beginning of each functions or modules to provide a brief description of its purpose and functionality. You explain what the function does, what inputs it expects, and what output it produces. This helps others, especially the examiners, understand the purpose of each component and its role in the overall solution. So you write your comments in a clear, concise, at madaling maintindihan. Avoid using jargon or overly technical terms unless kinakailangan. Aim for comments that are accessible to readers who may not be familiar with the specific domain or problem. Remember, clear and well-documented code makes it easier for others, including examiners, to understand your thought process, logic, and implementation choices. It showcases your ability to communicate effectively and demonstrates professionalism in your code presentation. So after documenting your code, our next step to guide you to tackle programming problem statements during hands-on exam is to validate your solution. So validating your solution is an important step to ensure that it meets all the requirements of the problem statement. So you have to really validate kung tama ba yung answer mo. Carefully read and review the problem statement once again. Pay attention to all the requirements, constraints, and expected outcomes. Make sure you have a clear understanding of what the problem is asking for. So you compare your code and its outputs against the requirements stated in the problem statement and ensure that your solution addresses all the specified tasks and provides the expected results. Verify that your code adheres to any constraints or special conditions mentioned in the problem statement. If ever you discover any discrepancies or inconsistencies during the validation process, carefully analyze yung code at i-identify mo yung mga areas na kailangang i-refine. Debug and fix any issues na lumabas or na-encounter and make necessary adjustments para masigurado mo na yung solution mo na ginawa aligns with the problem requirements. By thoroughly validating your solution, you can be confident na yung code mo tama sa specified requirements ng problem statement. It helps na masigurado na yung solution ay kumpleto, tama, and needs the expectations set forth by the exam or assessment. Lastly, in order to guide you to tackle programming problem statements during hands-on exam, you have to review and optimize. Reviewing and optimizing your code is a valuable step to improve its performance and functionality. So, iba yung validation, iba yung reviewing. Review your code for clarity and readability. Ensure that it's easy to understand and maintain. Well-structured and readable code is not only easier to optimize but also help others, including examiners, understand your solution better. Analyze your code to identify opportunities for optimizing data structures and algorithms. Remember, ang optimization is an iterative process, paulit-ulit. And it is important to measure the impact of each optimization step. Validate your code after each optimization to ensure correctness is maintained. Be mindful of time constraints during the exam and prioritize optimization that have the most significant impact on the performance or functionality. Congratulations! You have reached the end of our video tutorial on mastering the ICT Proficiency, step-by-step guide to tackle programming problem statements during the hands-on exam. We hope that this comprehensive guide has equipped you with the valuable knowledge and techniques to excel in your programming exams. Remember, tackling programming problem statements requires systematic approach, strong problem-solving skills, and effective time management. By understanding the problem, designing a solution, planning your code, writing clean and efficient code, and thoroughly testing and validating your solutions, you can confidently navigate through the challenges of programming exams. Always remember to practice regularly. Familiarize yourself with different problem-solving scenarios and stay up to date with programming concepts and techniques. Continuous learning and practice will further strengthen your skills and enable you to tackle even the most complex programming problem statements. We hope that the strategies and insights shared in this video have empowered you to perform at your best during your DICT ICT Proficiency Exam. Remember to stay calm, focused, and confident in your abilities. Trust in your preparation and problem-solving skills, and believe that you have what it takes to succeed. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more informative content on DICT, ICT Diagnostic and Proficiency Exam Preparation. We are committed to providing you with the valuable resources to help you succeed. Thank you for watching and joining us on this learning adventure. We wish you the best of luck as you apply your newfound skills and knowledge. Remember, you have the power to achieve greatness. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep reaching for your goals. Until next time, stay inspired and keep coding. Good luck to your exam and God bless you all. Maraming salamat po.